Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar. My name is Stephanie Gardner. I'll be moderating the webinar today. But just before we get started, I wanted to go through a few housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded, and we'll be sending the on-demand copy to all the registrants and attendees after the webinar. For Q&A, questions will be done at the end of the presentation, but if you have a question, please add it to the Q&A tab on the webinar panel, and we'll get to it at the end of the webinar. So we just wanted to go through to show you the agenda real quick of our upcoming webinar and what we plan to show. We are gonna go through a quick, brief speaker intro. We will hear from NetDocuments and Litera, and talk about why integrations are necessary, why we need them, and hear a little bit about each of the products here. So right before we get started, though, I'm going to dive into our speakers. We have a nice panel here of experts from both Litera and NetDocuments. So starting off with Vanessa Butnick-Davis, she's the Vice President of Workspace Products at Litera, where she's responsible for product development at Litera Transact. She previously led product teams at OneLegal and LegalZoom.com and consulted in FindLegalForms.com and SmartRules.com, two innovative legal startups. She started her career as a legal associate at Melvini & Myers in Los Angeles. Next up is Matthew Roberts. He's the Senior Product Manager based out of the UK for Litera. He's been with the business for nearly 14 years, and he's an expert in the comparison space and loves speaking with users to understand how we can improve and evolve the software to better meet their needs. And last but not least, we have Josh Moore. He's an award-winning solutions expert and technical engineer with a demonstrated history of high performance, efficiency, and process improvements in the technology industry. He's specializing in implementing, demonstrating, and supporting enterprise SaaS for Fortune 500 companies. Josh holds an MBA from Western Governors University and a CompTIA Project Plus certification. Josh currently resides in Ozark, Missouri, where he enjoys spending time with his family and serves as a solution expert for NetDocuments. So then now that you've met our speakers, I'm going to hand it over to our first speaker, Josh Moore. Josh?
Yeah, thanks everybody, and glad to be here to talk a little about NetDocuments, the awesome integration with Litera, which great products in and of themselves. What we want to do today is we want to talk about, why is it important to integrate technologies? We know that there's a lot of software out there. I think it's a no-brainer to say that. And it can be frustrating for a lot of people to have different silos of technology to operate their business, their firm, the work that you do today. So integrating technologies, it's great. It minimizes disruptions and distractions from switching between applications. It definitely increases your productivity, minimizes your workflow-related stress by bringing things in and out. And it allows your documents, the work that you do, to become an asset to fuel collaboration as these different tools talk together. NetDocuments is a document management system. It's a cloud-based solution that helps organizations really around the world store, manage, organize their documents. We take the old traditional local drives, network drives, Box, OneDrive solutions, and we expand upon them. We make them so much better. And the great thing about it is, as a leader in cloud-based document management, NetDocuments extremely secure for any needs that you might have. So what we want to do is we want to take the next 7-8 minutes or so and really show you NetDocuments and what that component is, why people love it, and then we'll show you exactly how Litera makes it just even better. It's like the cherry on top. So I'll go ahead and drop down and we'll take a look at NetDocuments. I'm going to jump into NetDocuments via the browser, actually, where I'm logged in. What we want to do today is we want to show you how we can help organize your content, a little bit about the search experience, and version control, which is so vital to make sure that you know exactly what's happening with your documents. Well, when users access NetDocuments, this is the first thing that they see. We call it your home page, kind of like your virtual desktop. You'll notice in the demo some star icons, which you can click next to files, folders, matters, projects. When you click a star icon, it favorites that item, puts it on your homepage. You organize this however you want. For me, I made a to-do list. I can just drag and drop it, put it in my to-do list, or maybe my templates list. The idea with the document management solution is that what's important to you should be one click away. When you access the documents, here's everything front and center, one click away. That's important to you. Well, let's say what you're looking for is in here, right? We need to obviously navigate to it. Well, how do I navigate to my files? On the left, there's a navigation menu where you can see I have different cabinets. That's what we call them. Think of them as metal filing cabinets for different areas of the work. Commercial property, contracts, finance, general counsel. When I go to one of those cabinets, I can expand it open and see essentially all the different drawers in that metal filing cabinet. These different drawers are different legal matters for this example, because I'm in my general counsel cabinet. When I expand open one of those drawers, I can see all of the manila folders that organize the content. Again, very specific to how you and your team would organize that work. A lot of customers, this is how they navigate in the system. Pick a folder, pick a matter, click on it, you're brought right in. But there's an easier way to do it. And that's on the top right corner. There's this shortcut. Go to a matter where you can type in what legal matter you want to go to. Simply type it in, and it's a shortcut where you're taken to that workspace. Again, it essentially opens the drawer in that filing cabinet. Now we can see all of those manila folders. We can see any agreements, any emails, anything related to this work product is going to be found right here. One source of truth for you to go to see all of that content. And you'll notice too on these different documents, look, I have multiple versions of it. We can select one, see the different versions of it, how it changed and progressed over time, different comments for those versions. Customers really like this because now it's one place to go to see that life cycle of the document, how it changed, who made the changes, when the changes occurred. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, the other aspect of this is great. So we can navigate to those files, find what we need. What about searching? Well, NetDocuments has a very robust search engine. At the top, you can type in your search term, what you're looking for, and it's going to search across everything you have access to find where those results are. We can see we have documents, emails, folders, PDFs. You'll notice we provide a snippet so you can see in bold where your search term is in the file. And on the left, you can filter these results based upon any metadata that you set up. We can filter it down, specify that search to find exactly what you're looking for. Now, when it comes to creating files, if we jump over to Word, we have native integration with all the Office suite. I have a document here, I want to save it into NetDocuments. All you gotta do is hit Save As. It's probably the same button you click today. And when you do, you're brought into NetDocuments, at which point you can navigate in really to any folder you have access to and save this particular file. We can name it. And on the right is where you can apply that metadata. Well, the great thing about this is it's smart. NetDocuments automatically tags what we know. So we can tag the matter, the document type, the practice area, the retention period. There's built-in retention policies. And what's great about it is the metadata, the document tags, it's dynamic. You pick and choose when they show up. So we can see I have a field for expiration date, responsible party. If I choose the administrative folder, you'll notice on the right, I no longer have those fields because they're not relevant to admin documents. I don't need to know that. So you can pick and choose when you want to capture metadata. Again, all configured how you work. Simply hit save. It's saved as a brand new document. It's in that folder today. If we look at the footer, we can see the document number and the version. Well, if we make a bunch of changes to it, we go through, we edit it, maybe one of our peers goes in and works on it. I want to save it as a new version. Simply hit save it as a new version. We can save it as a full version or a subversion. And in the version name, you can put your comments. We'll say comment from Josh to draft document. At that point, we've saved it as version 2, and it's good to go. Well, when it comes to version control, right, we know that we have 2 versions. You can go in, see both of them, exactly what's different. But it's really nice to be able to run those different comparisons to see exactly what's different. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to pass over to Matthew, who's going to show you this awesome integration with Litera Compare, so you can take those different versions in NetDocuments and see exactly what's different between them.
Cool. Thanks for that, Josh. NetDocuments is looking good. Hopefully you can see my screen okay now. So what is Litera Compare? Litera Compare is market-leading comparison technology, helping users to quickly and accurately understand the changes made between any two versions of a document, spreadsheet, presentation, or PDF. Litera Compare integrates with Microsoft Office, as well as all major document management systems, to provide users with a seamless experience when using the software. Litera Compare is available for Windows desktops as an Office 365 app in a browser. It also provides some APIs to meet any need. The flexible installation and deployment options support any size organization. So I'm also going to jump out and do a little demonstration of Litera Compare. As this webinar is about how integrating technologies enables seamless workflows for users, a brief demo will be focused on the integration between Litera Compare and NetDocuments. So let's go into NetDocuments. So I'm going to start within NetDocuments, and I want to talk about our integration with Litera Compare Desktop to begin with. Okay. Because of the integration we have built, users can start a comparison of files that are stored in NetDocuments in several different ways. I'm going to demonstrate a couple of them to you today. So firstly, I'm in NetDocuments. I've just selected two documents that I want to compare, and I can click on the Send to Application. This is how applications typically integrate from NetDocuments in a browser to go out to the other applications. And within here, we've got some options. We've got Litera Compare at the bottom. This is the one I'm going to talk to first. When I click on this, what's going to happen is it's going to load Litera Compare with the documents I have selected, populated in the original modified fields. So I'm going to go and choose that. And we'll see Litera Compare load. And I'm demonstrating this with comparing two Word documents at the moment. But as I mentioned earlier, we do support the comparison of PowerPoint, Excel, and PDF formats, as well as Word documents. And all of this can be started from the Send to Applications here, or the other ways that we compare documents. Now the comparison is loaded up, we can see the comparison results. We can understand the changes that have been made between these two versions of the document in NetDocuments. But the integration doesn't stop here. When the users run a comparison, maybe they want to save that comparison back into NetDocuments. So we've built an integration from the Litera Compare app itself to enable us to save the comparison results back into NetDocuments. We do that simply by clicking on the Save button. We actually choose here whether we want to save locally or into the DNS. I'm just going to choose DNS now and say as a new profile. We do have options there whether we want to save this as a new version. It might be more relevant if you're using a track change output instead of a standard red line. Different options to meet any user's needs. And then we can actually just save that comparison back in whatever folder we want to save the comparison to. Just click on Save there. That will save this red line back into NetDocuments. I'm not going to open it right now, but it does give us that option to open it directly from NetDocuments if we want to. Now, another way we can actually start a comparison from NetDocuments is by loading Litera Compare itself. And we can load Litera Compare and actually go and browse or go and select the files from within NetDocuments. Get like an open dialog of all of the files stored in NetDocuments. And I'm just going to start a comparison of two different files. So we've got these DMS icons here, which will allow us to go and grab those files from NetDocuments. I'm just going to pick a couple of documents here. And the way the integration is built as well is in such a way that users should be familiar with this dialog. This is what users will see when they're opening NetDocuments files within Office applications as well. This is not unique. This should be familiar to them and how they work. I'm going to select a different modified document. I'm actually just going to say compare a new tab here, and it will load up another comparison. We've already had the first one in the first tab. I just want to demonstrate this. Pull in documents. from Litera compare and loading the comparison up here. And again, we can go and save this comparison result back into NetDocuments if we want to. I'm going to pause there on the desktop demonstration, and I actually want to spend a little bit of time demonstrating another part of our comparison offering, and this is the browser-based comparison I mentioned earlier. So here, again, we can start this from within NetDocuments, and we can click on Send to Application. Again, when this Send to Application dialog loads up, we'll be presented with some options here. And we've got one called Litera Compare Online US. The real benefit of using this option is that we can bring comparison to users even when they're not on their Windows machine with desktop comparison software installed. Because it's all browser-based, the comparison will actually run in a new tab in the browser when I select this option. Simply load up a new browser tab. It means you don't have to be stuck on this device. You can be running on a Mac or on your iPad, wherever you've got access to NetDocuments. And again, it's going to load up the comparison results, so you as a user can review the changes between the two documents you've selected. And just like the desktop application as well, the integration doesn't stop there. Users may want to save their comparison results back to NetDocuments, and get my cursor to move. When I click on the Save button, or when I click on Save as PDF or Save as DocX, I'll be presented with some options here, whether I want to save the red line as an attachment in NetDocuments, and I can choose whether to attach it to the original or the modified, or I can choose to download locally. And with that, that's what I wanted to demonstrate today with our integration with Litera Compare. And now I'm going to hand over to Vanessa to talk more about some other Litera integrations.
Thank you. I just had to unmute myself because my dogs are, of course, barking.
I have that problem too.
Yes, didn't hear. Let me share my screen. Of course, it's taking its time. All right. Can everyone see my screen? I can't see you. Perfect.
Yep.
So what is Litera Transact before I start showing it to you? It's a modern deal management workflow solution. And what does that mean? So in my introduction, I think that Stephanie said that I was a practicing attorney for a while, and I have distinct memories of trying to manage deals with a lot of paper, with a lot of checklists that were printed out and highlighted. Litera Transact takes the place of that sort of automated, sort of manual process by having an online platform where you can reduce the write-offs that you get for all the printing work, all the highlighting work that you write off for your juniors or your paralegals, and you can just put that in the platform. It also enhances collaboration by putting everything in one place. You have your closing checklist, your diligence, your communication in this one place, and it's way easier and more efficient. Finally, there's a lot of manual work that goes into collecting signature pages, it goes to holding the pen on the checklist. We reduce a lot of that by, again, centralizing it and automating it. And finally, you know, and this ties in with the NetDoc stuff that we were talking about before, we're mitigating risk, right? You're keeping all of your documents in a centralized location in the NetDocs platform, and we're integrating with NetDocs, so you're not printing things out, you're not saving them to your desktop, you're not distributing them via email, you're having it in one central location that's integrated with all of the other platforms that you currently use. So let me take a second and get out of here and share. Let's see. Not sure what you can see right now. Can you see my Litera desktops, my Litera Transact screen?
We were seeing it before.
Okay, hold on. Let me try and reshare. As always with technology, there's nothing easy about doing this. Can you see my screen now?
Right now we see the Word document.
Okay.
That screen.
Let me stop. let me, of course, go to a new sharing tab. See what is happening. We waited for the technology to be right. You never see anything. Okay, what can you see right now?
Outlook.
I don't understand what's happening with my screen. Let me talk through Litera Transact a little bit. Wait, hold on one second. Technology is not my friend today.
Unless it's integrated.
Well, unless it's integrated, exactly right. So why can...
Now we see Litera Transact.
You see Litera Transact now?
Yes.
Okay, you guys, I don't know why that's happening. So you see, I'm hoping what you're seeing is the checklist itself.
It says 3 employment agreements, and we see.
Excellent, you guys. Okay, so shaking that off. So what we see, this is what the Litera Transact checklist looks like. This is the integrated checklist that we were talking about. So what you can see is there's various columns, one of which describes the checklist items, one of which tells you the status of your checklist items, which you can see some of mine are currently in progress, some have not been started, unfortunately. Some of them have a note to consult with tax professionals, and you can customize this to fit with your deal. So I'm going to focus, because I realized I burned a lot of time with the technology problems, and talk about the NetDocs integration. So let's look at my employment agreement section, right? So what I want to do here is open the side tab, and you can see that there's a number of elements that apply to this item. And there's a sub tab that says documents. So I don't have anything attached right now, but let's say I wanted to get my document in from NetDocs because I wanted to offer it up to my collaborators. I wanted to talk about it a little more.
I'm not sure I'm seeing that. I see transact, but you've got employment agreements slide out.
You're not seeing anything open?
I'm not seeing you change anything.
I don't understand exactly what's happening. Well, I guess I'm gonna describe it because I'm having such trouble with technology, and I do want to leave room for questions. There is a tab, you click on it, you have upload document from NetDocs. No one's seeing any change. You click, I'm clicking on my recent documents, adding it to the platform. I suppose you're gonna have to trust me on this because it's working perfectly as I'm looking at it. I'm saving it to the checklist, and it's updating now. In the face of this technology challenge, you guys, I think we can turn to questions. I'm sorry, I'm not sure why this is not working.
Okay,
and we can talk a little bit further through this.
This is the snippet. If you want the real deal, give us a call afterwards and we'll show you one-on-one.
That's exactly right.
All right, no problem. Thank you, Vanessa, Matthew, and Josh. So now we're just going to open up. We have a few minutes left, today to answer any questions people might have. So with that, we are going to dive right in. I saw one question come through already that I'm just going to jump in and ask. And again, feel free to add questions to the Q&A panel here on the screen. So the first question, what is the process for existing Litera or NetDocuments customers to turn on the integration between the two? Not sure who wants to take that first.
That's a great question.
If you're talking, I'll take it from a transact perspective. If you are looking to integrate your transact instance with NetDocs, it's very easy. You can do it straight from the UI. There's a system admin portal, which I could show, but I obviously can't, where all you have to do is link the two, and then each individual user of the platform can enter their NetDocs credentials, and the platforms are linked. I'll turn it over to Matt.
Thanks, Vanessa. And from Litera Compare, I showed you a couple of different things today, the desktop solution and the online solution. So let me just talk about desktop first. There's two things we need to do. We need to enable it in the desktop application itself in Litera Compare. So we've got some configuration options that allow us to go and select our DNS we'll choose NetDocuments. But then to get the send to application piece, to be able to go from NetDocuments to Litera Compare, we need to add that in the NetDocuments admin section. And you add a send to application per cabinet. So you would need to go and enable that per cabinet to get the send to application part working, and again, enable it on desktop to make that integration fully work. For the online comparison functionality, we only have that available as a send to application. But again, you go and enable that per cabinet where you want the comparison options to appear. We do have documentation that covers how to do all of this, and that may help if you need some assistance with it.
And from the NetDocuments perspective, to turn on that send to application, call your NetDocuments administrator. One click, they can turn it on for you.
Great, thanks guys. Another question came through, is there a workflow component to this solution?
Well, it depends. It depends which of whom you were asking the question. I mean, Litera Transact is a workflow platform, obviously, that helps you manage your deal from start to finish. So if you're talking about a workflow, and Litera Transact, by the way, integrates both Compare and NetDocs in it. So you can use that as your hub to manage the workflow of your transaction.
Yeah, from a NetDocuments perspective, we do support workflow. There's various types of workflows that you can integrate with NetDocuments, things like document assembly, approvals, reviews, all sorts of things that we can accommodate, just depending on what workflow needs you have.
Great. Thank you. I think the last question here, this is for, I think for Matthew, for Litera Compare, what types of documents can you compare? Is it just Word documents or are there additional types?
Yep, so we can compare Word documents, PDF files, Excel workbooks, or PowerPoint presentations. And we support all of the different formats, so docx, all of the template files that you might want to compare as well. So yeah, we support all of the Office files and PDFs, essentially. And in Litera Compare Desktop as well, if you've just got snippets of text that you want to compare, maybe you want to compare something from a website against some other text somewhere, you can also select just the text that you want to compare and compare those, as well as plain text files as well, if you wanted to compare those, although it's not very common.
Great. All right, well, I think we're at the top of the hour, half hour, I guess I should say, right now. So I think with that, we'll conclude our webinar. But, you know, if we will be sending out the on-demand copy of this webinar, but if you want to see these products in a little bit more in-depth, NetDocuments, Litera Transact, Compare, and the integration between, we would be happy to set up demos. So we'll send, you know, an email afterwards to people who, if you're interested, just let us know and we'll set that up. Thank you so much to our speakers and to everyone who asked the questions today. And that'll conclude our webinar. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you so much.
So.